Hardly anyone has remained indifferent to the tragedy that happened in Türkiye and Syria on February 6, 2023. Unprecedented not only in its strength, but also in its scale, the earthquakes left behind huge fractures in the Earth's crust. Long cracks formed in the Turkish provinces of Kahramanmaras and Hatay.
There was no cliff like this before. There was a field here, but it became like this within 3 minutes. We heard a sound like a huge explosion, and we saw a huge cloud.
We are examining this place again, because it's on the fault line. There are cracks everywhere in Tevekeli village. There are cracks even under houses. Most of the houses are split in two, broken into pieces, and now people here are staying in tents. There is nothing they can do now. They cannot use their houses either. May Allah help us all.
These deep faults in the Earth's crust seem to have divided the lives of local residents into before and after. None of them will live their lives as before. After all, the pain of loss has settled in the hearts of many thousands of people. A week after the tragedy, some 38,000 deaths were reported in both countries. More than 80,000 more were injured and wounded in various degrees. These figures are increasing by the day and are expected to increase several times. According to the Turkish authorities, there are more than 7,500 buildings in the affected areas, and more than 12,500 buildings have become uninhabitable. This means that hundreds of thousands of people were left without a roof over their heads. Many people responded selflessly to the terrible tragedy. Images from airports were stunning in the number of people willing to fly to the disaster zone to help in the removal of the debris. More than 90 countries and dozens of international organizations offered their assistance to Türkiye. And in places where rescuers could not arrive on time, people were wrecking the rubble with their bare hands so that they could rescue survivors. And the whole world rejoiced at the news that another precious human life had been saved. In the meantime, the rescuers themselves sometimes put their lives at great risk. But the great misfortune has also exposed many painful points of the modern world order. For example, in social media, there were heated discussions about the quality of buildings in the affected areas, which are located in earthquake-prone zones. In the consumer format of society, even human grief becomes an excuse for profit. Already from the first hours after the earthquakes, the police had to confront the looters. Some of them were heavily armed. So let us honestly ask ourselves, do we want to live in a world where at any moment we can become a victim of climate catastrophe, as well as of human greed and cruelty? In a world where double standards are the norm? Unlike Türkiye, which received the support of the international community almost immediately, neighboring Syria had to cope with the disaster almost alone in the first days. People's misfortune did not make them at least temporarily forget about political differences and provide the necessary assistance to the victims. And this despite the fact that every minute of delay cost someone's life.
There is no equipment here. It's a terrible situation. There are more than 50,000 people without a home now. They aren't given tents, they are not given anything. There is nothing, just nothing.
The earthquakes in Türkiye and Syria demonstrated the blatant unpreparedness of our society for large-scale disasters. We have neither advanced forecasting systems so that we can evacuate people in advance, nor a well-functioning unified rescue service for all states that can respond immediately and use modern technology to save lives. And in such situations, every second counts. The climate Cerberus has only shown its merciless grin. And what awaits humankind next, given the increase in climatic disasters, their strength and number? How can we save our lives and save the planet from total destruction? Watch the international online forum, Global Crisis. Our survival is in unity.